Still quick. All right, let's go ahead and call to order this March 15th, 2023 special meeting of the Board of Education to order in accordance with Government Code Section 54950 Executor and Education Code Section 35140 Executor at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. We will have Mr. Frazier lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Okay, so let the record show that all board members are present, but not our student board member, of course. All right. Today's subject of the call, the public employment superintendent and the conference with legal counsel with anticipated litigation. Okay, so I need a motion for the approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 15th, 2023 special meeting of the Board of Education agenda.
Second.
Awesome.
Tag.
Thank you, thank you.
Who are we giving that to?
I am giving that to, you called the,
I called it.
all right. And then second was,
You have to choose. That was a
I'm gonna give it to Marilyn.
Oh.
Okay, excellent. Comments on this, guys? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, none opposed, 5-0, motion passes. Okay, so let me introduce Mr. Ali again. He's the lead associate for Hazard Young Aetna and Associates to provide us a report on the superintendent search and the survey results. Mr. Ali.
Thank you, members of the board. I want to walk us through very quickly the district leadership profile report. This has been uploaded. Ms. Newton could confirm this has been uploaded, so the public has been privy or can look at it at their leisure. Members of the board are also in receipt. I know the interim superintendent read it because he told me. All right, so let's just drop down, review the process to date. This is our agenda. The district leadership profile report, feedback from district stakeholders based upon an online survey. So we've 4 phases: engage, recruit, select, transition. We're checking off the engagement phase, which was February 2023. We're still working through some of that. The job description will close the 25th of March, which then leads us into the recruitment phase. We're, again, still working through that. And then the board, if in fact we can move rather rapidly once the data is closed and the board has walked through the screening, to the selection phase, and of course transition. Leadership profile report. So the leadership profile, we looked at common themes: strengths of the district, challenges and issues facing the district, desired characteristics of the next superintendent. Within the survey report, and this is the corresponding page, numbers to the right, methodology, executive summary, analysis, etc. The report is available online. Again, the public has access to this 24 hours a day. Process: we did personal interviews with the Board of Education as well as the executive cabinet. Very robust community within this school district. Very. A tremendous amount of folks hit that button, as well as your students. 11 languages, and people were not shy. And as a matter of fact, folks even called me. They tracked me down. I'm like an honorary member of this community. Survey responses, 1,341. Very, very robust. The breakdown. Parent guardian, 62.1%. Again, very active community. General community members, 3.6%. Students, 8.3%. You classify 6.8. Certificated, 16.5. And then administrators, 2.9%. Strengths of the district. Destination district, phenomenal, excellent programs, outstanding staff, fiscal stability. Challenges facing the district. Raising achievement among specific groups of students, and some conversations particularly around ELs and the reclassification or redesignation of certain subgroups. Fiscal strategy to address declining enrollment and the staffing concerns, which of course we all are keenly aware. Adjusting to demographics as well as politics, again, a topic that we're not going to shy away from. We all know what it is. So. Communicating with transparency. Again, this is what your community stated. Desired characteristics of the next superintendent: a bold and visionary leader, an advocate for what is best for students, understanding and as well as sensitivity with respect to the diverse needs of student population, a leader who can build positive relationships with the community as well as the board, strong culture of teaching and learning, an effective communicator who listens and engages in timely responses, transparent and two-way communication, skilled and experienced facilitator of the governance team. Very important, because oftentimes when you talk about the governance team, it's 6 individuals who comprise the team. In this district it's 6, in some districts it's 8. The governing authority of the LEA and the superintendent. That is the governing team, and everybody else is kind of sort of brought in as ancillary experts to support that. Student voice. Strengths identified by students: district technology infrastructure is sufficient to support the use of technology. Very good. Technology is integrated into the classroom. Students are on track to be ready for the next grade, as well as ultimately college and career ready. Very strong responses from students. And as a matter of fact, it most certainly supports and undergirds the phenomenal work of your teaching staff as well as your administrators. Top challenges. Districts make decisions based on information from data and research. The district is heading in the right direction. The social and emotional needs of students are being addressed. Now, these are areas, of course, where the board could wrap policy around and direct the superintendent accordingly in order to strengthen and provide additional support per your student population. So this is a very interesting, let me just hit each of these buttons. So this is interesting. Okay, let me back up. So to the left, I would assume my left, your left as well. These are core areas, the core areas where we have white papers on this. This is pretty much what encapsulates a strong leader. Vision and values, teaching and learning, community engagement, management. Now, just being very honest with you, you're always going to get, let me back up here. You're always going to get your administrators, they're always going to say that they believe management is doing a phenomenal job. Vis-a-vis teaching and learning, your teachers will normally say teaching and learning is exceptional. But here is where it's interesting. Look at what your students say. There's tremendous challenges and concerns with respect to what they believe by way of vision, values, teaching and learning, and what your community says. And so it's very important, again, for the board, as you're looking to curate this phenomenal superintendent unicorn, as it were, it's very important that this community feels very strongly that the district is moving in the right direction, but there's some issues and some concerns as it relates to teaching and learning and community engagement. Some school districts, it varies. You want somebody who's a salesperson, get out there and build relationships with local companies. Some folks, you want a fiscal hawk. Some districts, you want the superintendent to really be focused on pedagogical best practices, right? That may be the case here. Okay, we know that the superintendent does proffer a budget to the board or before the board for consideration, but that person has to know just also a little bit more about teaching and learning based upon what your community is saying. And so let's get a little bit deeper into it in the next slide here. So if you look at this very interesting slide, the breakdown of what each of your community members or your constituent groups are saying, and this pretty much just underscores the previous slide. Now, I'm not going to delve into this one any deeper. I want to jump to this slide here. So if you look at this one, respondents were asked to select 4 statements. Okay, look at what the top 2, everybody agreed. Every single person agreed that they wanted the superintendent to foster a positive professional climate, respect of faculty, staff, etc. Next one, understand and be sensitive to the diverse needs of your population. Every single person agreed based upon that. Now, drop down to the 4th. Demonstrate a deeper understanding of educational research, best practices, etc. 4 boxes blank. Your parents and students agree. Great research and a great opportunity, again, for the board to craft policies that would help, whether you do it via your LCAP or just general board policies that would help to address the needs of your community. And I keep saying board policy because, of course, the superintendent is hired as the chief executive. If the board wants to drive change, the best way to do that is through policy, so that the superintendent can then be managed based upon that. And so normally you pass policy, and then of course there's some administrative regulation which would then allow the superintendent as well as the executive cabinet to administer exactly what the board desires. Any questions, just thoughts on this? Again, very interesting slide, an interesting perspective, but you can see this divergent belief when you look at your student population, and the board may even want to consider a deeper survey at a subsequent time based upon your community to actually understand and have them to unpack whether you do community forums around this topic to understand what they believe the district can do in order to demonstrate a deeper understanding of educational best practices. Thoughts, perspectives? All right, if not, I'll just move on. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think is your mic up?
Forgot about that. It is now. That's what I was mentioning last night, is a lot of our teachers have said that they feel that there's a huge disconnect between the district, and the district is pushing a different idea than what they're actually experiencing, like on the ground in the classroom. And so I did bring up last night, that's one of the reasons I brought up, is because I feel like there can be some type of a, what did I say? A forum, like a teacher forum.
Oh yeah, having a town hall.
Like a town hall, because then they can get their thoughts across, because there's a lot of fear of intimidation, of like, retaliation and stuff if they speak up and it's going to go against. But we really, really need to start relying on our people on the ground to, and listen to them and, apply these best practices, because they are the people in the classroom who are experiencing this. And so that was one of the reasons last night I brought it up. And I'm actually, I hadn't looked this far on the survey, and so when we're seeing this, it's actually affirming what we're being told by teachers and by parents and students.
So if I could add to that, I hear a different thing when I talk to teachers. There's a disconnect between the district and the board, the teachers and the board, that there's a lot of fear and uncertainty from the teachers because of the direction the board's taken. So just a different perspective.
I have a question. I was wondering why the survey wasn't split up into the 4 areas of management. So they get to pick 4 responses, and those are the top 4 responses, but they're not representative of all the So when you turn the page on ours and you list, it's really kind of deceiving, because like some of these are like only like 3% or something like that, because they were only allowed to choose 4. And I really like that the different areas are split up. the, visions and values, teaching and learning, community engagement and management. I just was curious why it was lumped all together instead of disaggregated so that we could have better information.
Now, what, you're referencing this slide here or back?
Well, in the survey,
in
right?
In the full survey.
In the full
yes.
survey, they were allowed to choose 4 responses.
Yes, yes.
Right. But they're not split up by the areas that are considered, good management skills, that effective managers have vision and values. So they didn't get to choose like their top 2 in each of the sections. Does that make sense?
I think I'm following.
Yeah. So here, because it was all lumped together, so they only got to choose 4 responses instead of like top 2 in each of these areas.
I think that's the same on the, isn't that same on the survey with, I think, all the surveys that go out, like, they were upset that there was only 4 choices and they wanted more. Isn't that kind of how surveys go? You can't give every.
You might want to turn your.
Sorry. I usually have a loud voice and very annoying, so don't usually need a mic.
Yeah,
Um,
and we could always, to Trustee Anderson's comment and question, we could always go deeper, right? But in this particular instance, because of the time frame, we wanted to capture at least some top-level data points to be able to build the profile to inform the superintendent aspirant of what members of the community as well as the staff, what they believe to be just the overall top. And so if you look here, what we're trying to find is similarities in that when you're developing this, leadership profile. Yeah, we won't be able to grab every single aspect, right?
Right.
But if you do want to go deeper, we can most certainly grab one of the questions or 3 and utilize another survey after we've moved forward. But again, the objective here was to move a little bit rapid and grab as much data as we possibly can grab from the overall collective.
Are you asking about the way it's presented or how it was asked?
The choices. So
Okay.
to me, it wasn't a very deep survey. I think that's what I'm communicating, because you can only respond to 4. There's all these questions, but you only have 4, and there's the 4 different management areas, and it would have been nice to see what was the most important to each of the groups in the different management areas.
So in each section,
In
as
each-
opposed to
in
saying
each section,
which
instead of, like,
section is the most
Instead of
important.
looking at it as a whole, dividing it up and really looking at things. Because one of the things that was interesting to me was, like classified staff, was be visual through the district and the school community. And that was, one of their top 4. If you look.
Show me which one you're looking at.
Right here.
Oh, right here?
Yeah, but if you look at that as a whole, not very many people chose it because, let's see, where's,
that one on the list?
I'm looking for it.
Oh, it's on the other page.
On
7.
On 7.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah, it's not reflective through all the other groups because you're only allowed to choose 4. So they didn't split up the different management styles. That's all. That's all I was wishing was for like a little bit more, like deeper dive. Like, was this, maybe it wasn't your top 4 for that, but was it important, or where would it be like percentage-wise, related to another group?
Is that going to be a sticking point with,
Well, the survey's done.
Right.
I'm just saying, in future, I'd like to see,
oh, I see.
more information and separate,
Is that in all surveys then? Because I know that was a complaint of the community about the school weeks, about moving
Calendar.
the calendar
Yeah.
back. They complained that there wasn't enough response, enough information, enough options and
choices,
stuff.
Well,
So
but I
are you
think that's
talking in
listening
general?
to, we're listening
Okay.
to the community and trying to be responsive.
Well, of
So,
course, that's what I'm asking.
yeah.
So in general, all
In
of our
general.
surveys need
Yeah, we
to,
need
at
to-
the district,
Sure.
we need to do a better job.
yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. President, if I could add and just supplement the discussion, I believe after you've selected a new superintendent, perhaps to Trustee Anderson's point, the superintendent would then do a 90 to 120-day transition plan. In that plan, there's a road show. I understand what she's saying. You may get that data in person You might not be able to capture all of that data online, because then you have that fluency, right? To be able to ask a corresponding question, okay, so Trustee Buck, you feel this way, and then why? And then Vice President Blaze would then say, well, I have a perspective, and then we can capture all of that in writing, right? But in person, typically when you're doing these types of superintendent searches, you either can have an online survey or both, a hybrid in person. People are typically more honest online as opposed to being face-to-face capture, especially employees. Right. So again, it just depends on how you want to capture that data leaning forward. If the superintendent has an opportunity to meet with the collectively bargain groups, which I'm quite certain he or she will do, then they'll have an opportunity to grab a lot of that information from them as well. Or the district could consider a culture and climate survey. I'm quite sure I see you nodding your head, Mr. Superintendent, but the culture and climate survey could pick up a lot of that information as well. Depends on how you want it to design the survey post of the search, and what information does the board need in order to be able to drive policy.
I
So it
think
could all
this-
be captured.
Yeah, this is a good topic, and typically all the superintendents we've had have done that 90 to 120 day. Yeah, and we give them a list of who should we go out and talk to, who should they sit down and have meetings with, and I think even Mike did that too, even as an interim. You want to get to know your community. So we'll have input on that, but I definitely want a deep dive. I would love to have that, an additional survey done, just based on the highlights and that we've gotten at this point.
Yeah, it could be done. So, Trustee Buck, would you suggest a culture and climate survey, and perhaps we can have a subsequent discussion as far as what type of data would the board want to see, and
Yep.
and what do you want to do with that data? Because there's multiple surveys that you can employ, right? But you just want to make certain that what you actually want to be able to capture, you're going to capture. What do you want to hear to learn from the employees?
Yeah, and I think an additional question is, what are we gonna do with the additional information? That's all.
Well, we should use it to drive our,
Yeah, I understand
yeah.
that. I'm saying, but let's state that. Like,
Yep.
let's say this is why we're wanting to do that. So,
And I think that will help answer a question as what is policy and what is not.
Okay, keep it on topic here.
Okay, one last question. In your presentation that you just gave, you have the closing date as March 10th, and I just want to be clear that what our,
it's the 25th.
25th is our closing date? At the very beginning when you're going through the engagement?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, on your timeline. So I just
Yes.
want to make sure.
Yes, that did slip, and so I'm glad you caught that. And so we are closing March 24th. March 24th. Yeah, March 24th. And that's the public date. It's out.
Could
in
we have
papers.
that slide that has all of the numbers? It's not in here, as you move forward a little bit, just the survey, who
Sure.
responded, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I'll send the whole presentation over
Perfect.
to you, absolutely.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious
no
at the
problem.
numbers.
We'll get Miss Newton will, okay.
Perfect.
Thank you, Annette. I'm sure it's already sent now, right?
Probably.
And I want to publicly,
Send, boom.
and Mr. President, I want to publicly thank Ms. Newton again. She's really been stellar. She's been phenomenal.
Yep.
I think I'm going to take her with me when I leave.
No.
Mr. Ali, she
No.
is not for sale, so sorry.
Well, I mean, she says she's a capitalist, so she wants 25%.
Well, that's true.
25% more raise, okay? At any rate, I want to thank you for the opportunity, and if there,
One more question.
absolutely.
Okay, I was wondering, just because of all the confusion, can you send us a link with all the ads that have gone out and the timelines that the links or the ads were live or presented?
No problem.
Okay, thank
Absolutely, no
you.
problem at all.
Other questions? No
think so.
concerns?
I really appreciate the recruitment aspect of this, and I think this is a good move for us because while the ads are helpful, I
Excuse me,
think
your mic?
it's on.
Okay.
I just need to scoot. I'm a little short, so I guess I have to scoot closer. I think that using the ads is a good tool, but I have seen all of the superintendent conferences and all the places that Mackay has been going to and selling it in person, you know, in the attempts to get all the best candidates. And so I think that that's been
Where
a
where
great.
has that been?
Hmm?
Where?
Where are some of the superintendent
Yeah, we were in
conferences?
San Antonio,
Mhm.
AASA,
Yeah.
which is the American Superintendent's Conference.
You should add that to the list
Of what?
of the emails with the ads and things like that.
Oh, add all the
To
stuff
the,
he's been
add it
doing
to the
to
list of
actively
what's
recruit.
being done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, because this is what the companies do is they don't just put an ad on their website and then hope that people, you know, will put it in. Most companies will go and they have recruiters and they actively go seek, and I think that that's been a great tool in this. So I want to thank you.
No problem.
Thank you
Thank
again,
you.
sir. Okay, this brings us to our public comment. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment? I take that as a no, then we'll move on.
I'd like Annette to say something.
25%? Okay, so this brings us to our closed session. At this point, we're going to adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing matters expressly authorized by Government Codes, Section 3549.1, 54956.8, 54956.95, 54957, and 54957.6 at 10:27. This will include public employment appointment and a conference with legal counsel with anticipated litigation. Okay. We are in closed session.